A Place Further Than the Universe kinda snuck up on us at the start of this season, as original series with little marketing hype behind them tend to do. It quietly released just a day into the new year and blew pretty much everyone who watched it away with its stunning animation, strong direction, and great writing. Though maybe that shouldn't have been as surprising as it was, considering the series was made by Atsuko Ishizuka, the director of No Game No Life and Pet Girl of Sakura So, and Juki Hanada, who, with the adaptations of No Game No Life, Princess Jellyfish, Level E, Hibike Euphonium, Steins Gate, Chunibyo, Nichijou, and the all-time classic Aki Sora under his belt, is low-key probably one of the best writers working in anime today. Of course, while everyone else was busy getting hyped for the lovable cast of characters, gorgeous background art, and slick animation, I was concerning myself with something much more important. The OP, which is a strong contender for the best of the year list, even in a season full of strong contenders. Today, I'm going to pick that OP apart to see what it tells us about the story and characters, because this is far and away the best moe show of this season, which makes it a perfect contender for the first What's in an OP of Fanservice February. By the way, this video is sponsored by the series co-producer Crunchyroll, the internet's premier anime streaming service. If you want to get caught up on A Place Further Than the Universe, Overlord Season 2, Darling in the Franxx, or most of the other new anime of the winter season, you can watch them for free by signing up for a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium at crunchyroll.com/basement. The OP starts with a shot of Mari lying on her bed with her eyes closed, mirroring the first shot we see of her at the start of the show. However, instead of being woken up by her mom's waterboarding techniques, we see her spring into action of her own volition, smiling at the camera before excitedly rolling over and bringing us to the shot of Antarctica that serves as our title card. This first shot simultaneously tells us a lot about Mari and the themes of the show right off the bat. She begins the series in a state of stagnation, but opens her eyes to how static and boring her life has been, and decides to take charge and flip it upside down. The static shot suddenly exploding into action matches the series' running metaphor of water suddenly flowing out of stagnant pools. That also lines up with the overall pacing of the OP, building up slowly with character shots before exploding into action at the halfway point. And that's more than just a feeling caused by the increased tempo of the music. There are almost exactly twice as many cuts in the last 45 seconds of the OP as there are in the first, 21 compared to just 11. And the shots in the last half also have more movement. It's a simple directing trick, but it really adds to the excitement and sense of speed. Now, this is gonna sound like an odd thing to praise, but I really like this title card. Zooming out to show the whole of Antarctica with space whizzing by in the background both tells us what everything is building to and evokes a sense of adventure and wonder, which is an important selling point for the show and something you might not expect from a thing with this many cute girls in it. The motion graphic work on the title itself is also really neat. It's drawn in bit by bit as an aurora plays across the text, and the English subtitle is written by a cute little penguin waddling across the screen. When it's time to transition to the next shot, instead of fading away or cutting, they have the penguin walk off screen and the title dissolve like it came in. Little details like that make the editing here feel a lot more seamless. From the title, we fade into this cute handheld shot of Mari drawing on the camera with chalk, a charming way of introducing the four principal characters without resorting to generic title cards. It tells us a little bit about the characters' general disposition. Mari and Hinata are more Genki than Yuzuki and Shirase, but its main purpose is to set up the final title card and to mark transitions in the OP's tone. That said, not only is this really cute, it's really well done. On top of the generally fantastic character animation, the camera shake, lens flares, and autofocus glitches make it feel like you're actually looking through a real camera, which must have taken a good amount of time to get right, even for such a short sequence. But it was important to do so because the idea of the girls having fun in front of a camera ends up being a key plot point in the series. Like I said, each of these chalk drawing shots marks a transition in the tone of the OP, ones that mirror the progression of the show's story. We start with Mari alone, then cut to her sitting in her classroom, aimlessly goofing off, trying to balance a pencil on her lip and failing. This is her before she decides to go off on an unpredictable adventure and meets Shirase. Her life is interminably stagnant, a point that's hammered home by two time-lapse shots, one of a quiet small-town alleyway, the other of a two-story strip mall, probably near a train station. Two locations that evoke a sense of well, whatever the opposite of grand adventure is. The show likes to use signs in the background for gags or to emphasize the point of scenes, and these shots are no exception to that rule. The defining feature of the alleyway is a huge painted stop sign on the pavement, while the most eye-catching thing in the strip mall shot is a poster promoting space exploration, one that's clearly been there a while and is starting to fall off. Both further play to that theme of stagnation. The time-lapse animation in both of these shots is also really impressive, with more lens flares, clouds intermittently causing the light to flicker, a moving highlight on metal objects, light rotating realistically around this lamppost, and even moving shadows on the individual support beams on the strip mall. In general, this show's background art is pretty darn impressive, and this is some film quality stuff right here. Honestly, I think it's even better than that time-lapse from Violet Evergarden that everyone was drooling over. Once Shirase is introduced, the stagnant water breaks free, as it were, and things begin flowing. Mari gets up from her desk, packs her bag, and leaves the classroom she was stuck in, before leaning in just one more time to smile at her handiwork on the chalkboard. An image of the icebreaker docked at Showa Station and her friends, as penguins, celebrating their arrival. Mari's life is now in motion. She's happy instead of bored, and what's more, she's the one driving herself forward. This is a dream that she and her friends made real with their own hands, overwriting the safe, regimented structure of school life. And boy golly gee whiz, is the image of this drawing taking up a whole classroom chalkboard a perfect way of symbolizing that idea. The notion that they made it is further cemented by the cut to all four of the girls' drawing, which includes Hinata and Yuzuki. And with four of them finally in the picture, it's time for the adventure to really get going. We see them walking along the seawall that connects to the South Mole Lighthouse in Fremantle, Australia. And just as an aside, I love that the environment art in this show is detailed and well researched enough that I can accurately identify a specific lighthouse in one shot of the OP. This shot gives us the most information about their dynamic as friends that we've seen so far. Mari is more carefree and runs up ahead by virtue of her youthful enthusiasm. Shirase is nervous but moves forward thanks to the energetic Hinata egging her on, and Yuzuki is the most nervous of them all, crawling carefully before finding her resolve and charging forward so that she doesn't fall behind her friends. I love compositions like this. The contrast and interactions between characters tell you more about them than solo shots ever could, and we see plenty of shots like this in the back half of this OP. Once they're all standing, we see them join hands in front of the Shirase icebreaker, no relation, run forward and jump into the air. And as they leave the ground, we cut to a seagull taking flight, then to the girls jumping up in front of the sun at the Antarctic base. The three shots are tied together by matching elements to make the jump feel more seamless. The rope that the seagull is sitting on lines up with the icebreaker in the previous shot, and the position of the sun behind it matches up exactly with the sun in the last shot. This cut is similar to the jump that they used to cut to Australia while they're filming the trip within the show. Now, as for the shot of them in Antarctica, their poses are so specific that I think they might be spelling out something in kanji, but I haven't identified what that might be. So, if you know Japanese and you think this is spelling something out, let me know in the comments below. That would be really helpful. From here, we cut to the money shot, as it were, with the camera soaring across the water and past the girls standing on the bow of the icebreaker. This shot shows off just how detailed the 3D model of the ship is, while also giving the 2D animation team and compositors a chance to flex with the nearly flawless rotation around the girls. This is some grade A animation, and once again, it sells that feeling of adventure and excitement. The zoom in to the girls on this massive ship in front of a vast expanse of ocean from the front says, look how much they've accomplished so far. But then pulling around the back to show the massive expanse of ocean in front of them says, look how much they have left to do. From that shot, we jump literally to the girls jumping rope together on the deck, a shot that further reinforces Mari and Hinata's enthusiasm, Yuzuki's more reserved, nervous nature, and Shirase's awkwardness. The shot also introduces two of the show's most important supporting characters, Kanae and Gin, as well as the rest of the crew of the ship. Megumi conspicuously doesn't make the cut into this OP at all, which kinda confirms her fear that Mari is leaving leaving her behind, and hammers home her overall irrelevance to their actual adventure. The next shot focuses on Gin and Kanae alongside the girls on a plane, further emphasizing their importance in the story. It also once more highlights the contrast between the two Genki girls, the awkward Shirase, and the utterly terrified Yuzuki cowering in the back. For a show that lives and dies on the strength of its characters, establishing their personalities is vital, and this OP nails that. Next, we see what Hinata was viewing out of the plane, an aerial view of the research team out on the ice. And even at this huge distance, they still bothered to animate the crowd of researchers waving and one of them falling over, a nice little comedic touch. After that, we're introduced to the real Showa station, and as promised by the chalkboard, there's a penguin next to it. What follows is a quick montage of the girls goofing off in Antarctica, which mostly serves to further cement their personalities in our minds with some blink and you miss 'em gags. This shot of Shirase po-facedly pretending to hold up the icebreaker really encapsulates her character, serious on the outside, but goofy and adventurous on the inside. And I love the shot that follows, where we see it dawn on Mari exactly what she's digging a hole for in real time, and realize what that means her bathroom trips are gonna be like for the rest of the time they're camped there. Next, we see them hiking across the tundra, and Mari takes off her mask to breathe, which isn't the wisest thing to do under the Antarctic sun with snow reflecting it back in your face. And man, the animation for every character in this shot is so good for how far away they are. You really get a sense for the roughness of the terrain and how deep the snow on top of it is. Also, in this shot and on the plane, we see Hinata behind the camera, which reflects her role in the show as the camera woman for the group. And at the back of the line, we can clearly make out Kanae and her friend from the expedition team. And this right here is one of the things that makes this OP so special. When we next see the girls enjoying some off-brand cup noodles on a break, Mari's face has a nut brown farmer's tan where she exposed it. A neat little bit of continuity that continues through the rest of the OP. Optimist that she is, Mari is taking advantage of her possible melanoma to make her friends laugh with a bodybuilder-esque Captain Morgan pose. This might be a reference to something, but I don't know what it could be if it is. That said, it is pretty damn cool that they actually bothered to animate the pose on Shirase's phone screen as well. After this, we see Hinata posing for a bikini glamour shot in the base hot tub, with Shirase ducking into the water because she's shy. And man, I must sound like a broken record at this point. Again, it's really beautifully animated. They put a lot of effort into the camera motion and the way that Hinata settles into her pose, and they really didn't have to do that for such a brief clip. Also, she looks adorable when she does her little wink. This show makes it very hard to name just one best girl, but Hinata's definitely in the top 4. Next, we see a cute shot of them posing with a manatee, one of the only still shots in the whole OP, and I love how Hinata fully commits to copying its exact pose, while everyone else props their heads up with their arms. Another nice little touch. The following shot of them all goofing around with their sunglasses, presumably for a video, doesn't say much, but it is really cute. And I love how their sunglasses match their personalities. Shirase's are dark and serious, Mari's are garish and goofy, and Yuzuki's are more supermodel glamorous, in line with her position as a pseudo-idol. Also, Yuzuki's laugh is adorable, and now I want to call her best girl. This show is impossible to pin down. Damn it, show, let me make up my mind. To close things off, we see one more time-lapse shot of the sun setting over the ice, serving as a nice point of contrast to the shots at the beginning of the OP and showing how far Mari and her friends have come. And man, while it's not as complex as those shots, it's just as beautiful. After that, we see the girls lying on their backs staring up at the sky, which I would guess is filled with an aurora borealis, something that the OP also teases with the chalk drawing, but that I think the production team are wisely holding off on actually showing on screen until they can make a powerful emotional moment out of it in the show.
That's it?
No.
It's also worth noting that this shot mirrors the last shot we see of the girls in the ED, with laser show imagery representing their hopes and dreams dancing in front of them. The OP does something similar, cutting from the girls on the ice to them lying on the pavement over a chalk drawing, dreaming, presumably, about what adventures await them at the South Pole. Mirroring the start of the OP, all at once they smile and spring up, revealing that they're lying on their own adorable chalk drawing rendition of the title card, which is what they were drawing in the shots at the start of the OP, bringing this whole thing full circle. I love this shot for a few reasons. Firstly, the art is great, which is to say it looks exactly like something that 4 teenagers could conceivably draw by themselves. Not overly polished or professional, but not unnaturally amateur either. Secondly, I think it's adorable that they drew the icebreaker upside down because Antarctica, and also the UFO on the side really makes me smile. Not sure whether it would be awesome or terrible if that turned out to be foreshadowing somehow. Lastly, this image speaks to the same theme as the chalk drawing from the classroom. It shows that these girls are making their dream a reality with their own 2 hands. The fact that both are chalk art also speaks to themes of youthful enthusiasm and naivete. Man, I don't know, it's just lovely, evocative imagery, which is more than I can say for like 99% of title cards. They're usually just an afterthought, even in good OPs. Also, those last shots of the girls in their colored snowsuits prime you to associate those colors with them, an association that the show uses to make them instantly identifiable, even at a distance. After that, we get one last moment of beautifully animated cuteness, with the girls staging a forced perspective shot where Mari eats them whole. What really makes it is Shirase popping back up too early and the other girls having to pull her back down, which perfectly represents her somewhat dense personality and is just a very cute, realistic moment. Mistakes like this happen all the time when kids do things like make their own films, and it makes the whole thing feel much more believably amateur. This OP conveys a ton about the cast of A Place Further Than the Universe, while doing a brilliant job of selling the sense of adventure and strong plot that sets it apart from other moe shows. Moreover, it just makes me feel great whenever I watch it. It's refreshing and encouraging and fun just like the show itself, and it gets me instantly hyped to watch whatever episode follows it. I don't know if it's the best OP of the year or even of the season, but it's certainly my favorite. Let me know what you think are the best OPs of winter 2018 in the comments below, as well as which of the Sora Yori girls is best girl. And to whoever survives the ensuing bloodbath, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to catch every new Mother's Basement video as it goes live. I'd like to thank Crunchyroll for sponsoring this video and for being my favorite place to watch anime. Their Q features and simulcasts make it super easy to stay up to date with everything that's coming out in Japan, and they have a great selection of incredible shows from long before this current season, so I highly recommend checking them out with that 14-day free trial at crunchyroll.com/basement. I also want to thank my patrons for being generally awesome, and all of the new patrons who've joined me after the unfortunate incident with my last video about the MMO junkie controversy. You guys are the absolute best, and you turned what felt like a real downer into a really good day. If you want to hear me analyze some other anime openings, then click here for my breakdown of Devilman Crybaby, or click here for something a bit older, Anohana. Subscribe to my second channel for my podcast, The Weekly Weebcast, and if this is the last I see of you today, I'm Geoff Thew, professional shitbag, signing out from my mother's basement.